It's time for Pod of the Dead. Join us.
Bothersome to me, but
Over the top.
yeah, but I mean that's WrestleMania for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So enough about WrestleMania. You guys want to get into this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's do
All right.
this.
All right. Hello and welcome to Pod of the Dead. I am your host, Nicholas, and with me, as always, are the two ladies, Stephanie and Natasha.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
On today's episode, we are covering the 2016 horror film, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Coming into this week, what were your girls' preconceived notions or history with this film?
I've already seen it a couple of times. I realized while I was watching it again that I've seen it, I think, 1.5 times before watching it for the pod.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I seen this for the first time this week, but I already knew bits and pieces of it because this is legitimately our oldest daughter's favorite movie, like one of her favorite horror movies. So like she would watch it on repeat over and over and over again when she was home, when she was in high school. And so I sent her a text message when I was like, I'm watching one of your favorite horror movies. And she's like, that one's so good. And I was like, yes. So yeah, so I already knew kind of like the spoilers of it and all of that because she talked to me about it. But I hadn't seen it in its entirety because I thought maybe I had, but I had not. So yeah, that was my experience with it. And I liked the actors in it, so that was good. So yeah.
Yeah, so since this came out in 2016, I would say that I've probably seen this movie 8 times because it seems like I watch this movie once a year. Like I've seen this movie quite a bit.
It's an easy watch in the sense of like,
correct.
It's just, I mean, you may know what's going to happen, but I think that, and you probably won't pick up on extra things because I don't think it's kind of that kind of movie, but
No.
I do think it's one of those things like it's an easy watch and it's entertaining enough.
It is a cozy watch. This is like
Kind of.
considering the graphic nature that some of it gets into, like I don't think it's exploitative and stuff of that, but considering it's like, oh, it's like an autopsy film. It's like I can just like curl up on the couch on a rainy day and just have a snack and watch this movie.
Yeah.
So, movie came out in 2016. What do you think its budget was?
Here we go again.
Yeah, that's right. Here we go again.
Budget every week.
I know. And like with this movie, it's hard because it's like it all takes place in one location, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, the effects that they use, and like I'm sure a lot of that's probably practical as well to make it look as real as it is. I think this is probably, I don't know if this is, I always say it's a bigger budget and it never is. So I'm going to say 10 million.
Yeah.
6.5 million.
Damn, Tosh, you're super close. The budget for this
Ooh.
movie was $6 million.
Yay! She still lost
you.
fucking Price is Right rules.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Dang it. I know. $1. No.
So yeah, $6 million is what it was made for. I think they did a lot with that $6 million.
Yeah. I think so too.
Especially with like the cast and everything they have in it. It was pretty surprising. But so what do you think with its $6 million budget it ended up making? Because it did get a release.
Like in the movie theater?
Yep, it did.
Okay. So it wasn't like one of those things where it was like
No,
in 5 theaters for 3 days.
Right.
Because
no, it was not Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I'm going to say 22.
Okay. Yes, the
Let's-
sounds of thinking.
Yes. $17 million.
This movie made a staggering $6.1 million.
Oh, that's
wow.
so sad. They lost money.
Well, while the
They made 0.1 million.
Well, but after advertising, I'd be, oh.
So there's a reason for this, though.
Okay.
The Autopsy of Jane Doe failed at the box office. That was mostly the studio's fault as it released the movie in a backwards manner. The Autopsy of Jane Doe premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival on September 9th, 2016. Soon after, IFC Midnight picked it up and first distributed it public via video on demand. It later went on to be released theatrically. Given that most people had already watched it by the time it hit theaters, it managed to gross only 6 million worldwide.
Yeah, but they made money on streaming on demand, so that's kind of cool. So they probably did make money.
I think it's that thing of like they saw the numbers they were getting just on VOD, and they were just like, "Fuck, guys, let's pop this." We should
release this, because
that happens. Like it still happens to this day, where like something just blows up online, and they're just like, "Sure, let's get this into theaters."
Trick or Treat is a good example of that.
Correct.
Because that did not have a theatrical release.
Yeah, that was DVD, and now it gets like it's in theaters every year.
Yep. So.
But so this is I don't really remember coming like how I came across this. It must maybe it's less than 8 times, but yeah, like it must have just been on a streaming service, and
that's where Kylie watched it. It was on a streaming service, and she came across it and was like, "Mom, this movie's so good, you have to watch it." And I was like, "I'm not watching that." Well, I now have watched it,
but now I have watched it. Yeah. So this came out in 2016, which we have covered before in horror, but I'll give you a little bit of like what the top 10 supposed horror films for that year were.
Okay. 2016.
Autopsy of Jane Doe comes in at 10. Hush comes in at 9.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The Neon Demon, The Conjuring 2, Don't Breathe.
That sounds familiar.
Raw, The Wailing, Split.
Oh yeah. Okay, we did talk about that.
10 Cloverfield Lane, and the number 1 film, and this isn't like box office, this is just like the best films.
Yeah.
Number 1 film for 2016, Train to Busan.
That's why. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that movie was the best horror movie of that year.
But to give you a taste of like what the theater going public was all about for 2016, does anybody really remember 2016?
Okay, so 2016 is probably like we're in the midst of fucking Marvel era, so I'm assuming it's a bunch of Marvel movies. This is like during the first or the second run of their fantastical stuff.
So I'll just run it through from the bottom.
All right.
Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens comes out this year.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
Oh, that was okay.
Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Jeez.
Zootopia.
Okay. That's out of nowhere. Yeah.
I can't believe that you don't remember 2006 as fondly, Steph. Deadpool.
I thought so, but I was like, I don't want to be like, yeah.
The Jungle Book. The Secret Life.
The Jungle Book.
The live action Jungle Book.
The scary one.
I haven't even seen that, I don't think.
Secret Life of Pets.
Okay.
Captain America Civil War.
That was good.
Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
That doesn't surprise me, yeah.
And Finding Dory.
Oh, that was cute. It has a whale shark in it, and I love whale sharks.
So definitely just like Disney.
Yeah.
Literally.
Warner Brothers, Disney, Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a Sony film. Disney.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they're a powerhouse. It makes sense. So I'm actually surprised there wasn't like an Avengers movie or something. I mean, Deadpool should have been number one.
Captain America Civil War kind of was an Avengers film.
That's true, because that's when we met Spider-Man and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, Tasha, do you want to tell us what this movie that we're waxing poetic is about?
I sure do. Like you said, it's a 2016 movie, a supernatural horror film directed by Andre Overdahl. Thank you.
Yeah.
It stars Brian Cox, Emile Hirsch as a father and son coroner who experienced supernatural. Can we start this over?
No,
just keep going. Knock it out, Tasha. Let's do this shit.
Fuck it, we're doing it live.
It's words. They are words. It's okay.
Okay. It stars Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch as a father and son coroners who experience supernatural phenomena while examining the body of an unidentified woman, played by Olwen Kelly.
Supernatural phenomena.
That's a lot of words. Okay.
Yeah. Hard.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
So the reason you had some trouble pronouncing his name, Andre Overdahl, is a Norwegian director.
Okay.
So cool. That's where you're getting the spelling, like the interesting spellings.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's done quite a few films. He's actually gotten really, really, really popular lately when it comes to directing. So his first movie was Troll Hunter, which I love. It's a super cool film. It's basically like a found footage film about people following this guy that works for the Norwegian government that like keeps trolls at bay. It was like the idea of it. It's fucking great. He then directed Autopsy of Jane Doe. And then off of that, Guillermo del Toro produced and he directed Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which came out back in 2019. And then just this last year, he did The Last Voyage of the Demeter. So he's definitely like in the Hollywood system now. Like,
yeah.
Oh.
We did see The Voyage of the Demeter. It was a well shot movie, but it was just too slow.
Yeah,
So.
That's one
Is
of
it a
those.
vampire one?
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
It's
It's
basically
about Dracula.
Yep, it
Okay.
covers one page of Dracula. There's like
Oh, wow.
Yep. So there's like this kind of throwaway thing about the Demeter coming to shore and all these people are dead or whatever, and that's about it. And you know it to be the ship that Dracula comes across on, but that's all it's touched on. And then, yeah, a whole script was written about this like very vague thing.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
If it was a little faster paced, it would have been really good because it's beautifully shot. But
Yeah,
it was just a
pretty good
very
film.
like lingering film.
Yeah, it's definitely like it tries to lean in the atmosphere, but I don't think it doesn't. I don't think it does as good of a job as this film as leaning into the atmosphere, because
Not at all.
this film is dripping with it.
This movie was way, like, in my opinion, like if you're comparing the two that I've seen of his, this one was way better.
Oh yeah, there's a reason people like talk about this movie. Not that they don't talk about his others and stuff, because they are probably just widely more seen, like the Scary Stories and Demeter.
Yeah.
Like those were like, I remember seeing commercials and shit for that. But this is definitely like the one, like if you're going to start out on any of his movies. Well, realistically, most of the stuff that I've got here and everything, we have to talk about in a specific area of the podcast.
Okay.
Is that spoiler territory?
That's spoiler territory, brother.
Spoiler territory.
Or maybe it's not, brother.
Oh no, not again. It's because we watched wrestling last night.
So, Pod of the Dead is a horror film club. So, we are going to be getting into spoiler territory. When that happens, we're going to be openly discussing the film. If you have seen The Autopsy of Jane Doe, stick around, see if you agree with us, disagree with us. We're smart, we're stupid, I don't care. If you haven't watched and want to stick around, that's fine. Just know that we are going to be just openly discussing it. If not, join us at the last like 10, 15 minutes of the episode where we'll be giving out our homework for next week. So you can watch the movie, and before the new episode comes out, you can then talk about it, like be part of it. You know, contact us on Instagram and all the likes, and tell us how much you agree with the girls and how much Nick doesn't know what he's talking about.
Agreed.
So, but we got a dog fight going on somewhere.
Oh, we do.
I think that's at Tasha's house. So, yeah. So again, spoiler territory. I'm gonna throw up that sign. Exit. Stage right. End of the episode. Come back. Get your homework. Come back next week. You know, we got a back catalog. Check out all that shit. You know, give the Krampus episode a listen. For some people, for some reason, people just have not listened to the Krampus episode.
I know.
I don't know what
It's
people
so
have
sad.
against that film.
I know.
It's a great movie.
It is. It's so
So-
good.
Without any further ado, though, we are going to crack open the ribs that is the film, The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
So if you want to be a part of our club, you can find us at facebook.com/podofthedead or else on Instagram at pod_of_the_dead or on TikTok at podofthedead. If you want to email us any questions, any complaints, or movie recommendations, you can email us at podofthedead666@gmail.com.
All right, with that being said, let's go. Oh, Tasha's in the zone. Tasha, why don't you give me that 10 out of 10 review on the film?
I'm a big horror fan, and this is the best little horror yarn I've seen in ages. That's the most interesting way I've ever heard anyone describe a movie.
A horror yarn?
Yeah, like a story.
A little horror yarn.
The best, but like small budget, best little.
It's just little.
horror yarn.
It's a cute little
Just-
thing. Oh, so sweet.
It's a little cute blanket.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's get cozy for Nick's autopsy movie.
Yeah.
Goddamn right.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Jane Doe is an excellent example that good horror movies are still being made. Top-notch story, effects, and scares. Highly recommended. Sorry.
The dog agrees.
Roxy's
I
just
don't know
trying to
what's
tell you
happening.
what's up, and you just go.
Yeah. She's just
Well,
agreeing.
Yeah. Is that what it is? Stop it. Okay. She's like right behind me.
Okay.
Producer Rocky's just like, come on.
Yeah. You're so good. Do better. All right. Well acted with some recognizable faces. Brian Cox is great as the small town coroner that leads the autopsy on the titular body. In one scene, he even manages to give me a sad lump in my throat, which is an unexpected feeling during an unnerving horror flick. Emil Hirsch plays his son and assistant, and though he's good, he doesn't have much impact as Cox. Rose Bolton makes an appearance as the town's sheriff. Where this film really succeeds is in doing something a lot of modern horror has forgotten about. It toys with the viewer's imaginations, creating an uneasy feeling out of the narrative, half light, sound, and shadows. This is not to say you don't get to see anything grotesque or unsettling, as certain scenes are not for the squeamish. I don't want to spoil the story, but we'll say this: the resolution is not quite as good as the build-up. It's very hard for a horror film, especially one that plays on fear and imagination, to deliver a conclusion that is suitably unsettling. This one half succeeds. But the ride is more than worth it, and the ending is far from a failure. If you like horror, watch this.
So sounds good to me. I think I'm going to turn this movie on right now. You girls continue on. I'm going to rewatch this film.
Yeah.
I have a movie to watch.
Yeah. I like that person's review because they thought it out really well, where they were just like, yeah, this is, and then they didn't like ass kiss the whole thing. They're like, yeah, the ending was a little less, and I agree actually. So,
and it's one of the, like, not to really get into it and stuff, but it is one of the, it's really rare that like when someone does a review and they say like, oh, the ending, but the rest of the film's so good.
They're right.
I 100% like can get behind, like, not that I'm giving this movie a 10, but I can still like see someone being like, the end is kind of meh, but everything else in this film, fuck it, 10 out of 10. So
Yeah.
I can understand that.
I can too.
They're just a little more lenient with their 10s.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's like, you can't always have the best ending. Like, if you think about a lot of the horror movies we've watched, their endings sometimes are a little subpar compared to the rest of the film. So I think that I don't necessarily think that horror movies maybe excel in their endings a lot of times. So, I mean, Hereditary excelled at its ending. I'm going to be honest. Like, that movie definitely did. But there are some that we've seen that are just kind of like,
I think horror films definitely are way more susceptible than most other genres of films for like dropping it at the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
So.
It's just, So, okay, I got a 1 out of 10 here. I'm curious to see. This is just one long paragraph. Like, they just didn't even know how to break it up. So
there's no periods, no commas, and it's written
just
backwards.
one breath.
Yep.
Yeah, it's they must be angry.
Must get opinion out. Body notwithstanding hatred.
Yeah. So 1 out of 10. This movie has so many holes in it. You're basically getting ripped off. I understand you don't want to give a background or history lesson too early in the movie to ruin the suspense of sort of figuring out who Jane Doe is. I say that because at the end, we still don't know. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. It's handed to you.
I mean, they're not giving you her legit like a like vision of her in the past. If that's what
and that would
they
ruin
wanted.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Okay. But this movie definitely needed some exposition, at least later on. No, it didn't.
No, that's what's really good about this movie is like the lack of expository dialogue.
Correct. And that's the best thing. It's like, it's a sleuthy film in a sense, or like you're trying to figure out stuff like a detective would try to figure out stuff. And I liked that about this. So I guess if you don't like movies like that, you probably won't like this.
It's like a Batman movie in a morgue.
Kind of. Yeah. There isn't anyone there isn't anyone who is an expert on anything Jane Doe is causing, which is fine at first, but then as the movie goes on, you're basically watching a movie about bugs being squashed because the protagonists don't have any background on what they're dealing with. They're mortician. What?
And he's looking at books and figuring out literally everything that comes out of Jane Doe.
Yeah.
I do not
Did somebody
understand.
not actually watch this movie and they're just like, it's stupid. I don't like the name.
I was
remember
too high.
bugs getting squashed?
There was a bug that got hit with the bug zapper.
Yeah.
Like the fly.
Well, it came out of her nose or something, and then it started bleeding a little bit, and then it went up to the bug zapper. I don't remember any other bugs.
Tasha's just like turning her head away. She's like, it's so gross.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Sorry, guys. I lost my location in this very long paragraph.
Unacceptable.
Okay. So, okay. Watching a movie about bugs being squashed because the protagonists don't have any background on what they're dealing with, so there's no possible solution to be found.
Wait, hold on. So, bugs being squashed, no background with it. Was this guy watching like fucking Tremors or something like that?
I don't know. They start making assumptions. Stuff happens in the meantime. They do dumb things like start a fire in the autopsy room. That wasn't dumb in my opinion. And
what do you do with witches? We burn them.
Yeah. Then Brian Cox jumps on the corpse, yelling at it to spare his son, and the next thing you know, his limbs are breaking.
He didn't jump on the corpse. He leaned in.
It doesn't make any
body
sense.
Slams the corpse.
Yeah.
Listen here, brother.
It doesn't make any sense. We're watching a movie with random things coming up that don't make any sense and are not explained. So I think that this viewer, it just really needs you to legitimately hand them every single thing, even though they kind of already do that, but like on a silver platter and not necessarily.
Because I don't pay attention all the time, and I understood what happened.
I want to go find this reviewer's history of reviews, and I want to see what they give it 10 out of 10 and why they do.
Yeah. We just have to accept it, and then in the end, nothing is even learned. Essentially, 90 minutes wasted. If you're okay with watching an incomplete movie with cliches and cheap jump scares, then this is for you. Otherwise, steer clear of this stinker.
I will say that the jump scares in this movie do not work at all.
No.
I agree.
They're way too set up.
Yeah. I mean, I was just like, okay, what are we... I know what we're going to see next. Just give it to me. Stop floating it in the air. So it was just weird. But yeah, I think a lot of horror movies do that though too. They build that up, and then there's that music that's like ominous, and then it just pauses too long.
Not the film I saw in theaters this week.
Oh, yeah.
I'll talk about later.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I don't jump scare easily, and it got me a few times.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's like Nick's thing. It's like, I don't get jump scared.
They usually don't work because they're usually set up like they are in this film.
Yeah, they were set up poorly in this film. But I did feel bad for the cat when they were setting up the jump scare, because I was like, why are we watching more fucking films with dead animals? I am sick of this. Like, I don't like, and I'm like, at least the dead cat actually looks like a dead cat and not like a weird thing attached to a body like in the Animator. But
you shut the hell up. That movie was made for, I think, like $1 million.
I know. And it's also, we're also talking like 20 some plus years apart in making.
And it's a superior film too. Not by much. But Reanimator is a superior film.
It's not, but that's okay. I'm glad you love it. That's all that matters. Yeah, exactly.
Go back and listen to our Reanimator episode to see what I scored.
Yeah. So, okay, Tasha, did you stay awake, and did you because we were worried about you, because we were like, Tasha doesn't usually like gross movies, and this movie isn't necessarily like over the top grotesque, but it is very visceral and like very like in your face, like holds no bars, like.
Yep, sure is.
But it's
I did not like it.
You did not like it. Okay.
I did not like those scenes. No.
Okay.
That's one thing. Like I'm all for like true crime, and I'm all for horror movies, but when you like the medical component of this movie, That's the bit of like cutting like the Y, and they're just kept cracking it open.
And then cutting her
The
fucking
skull.
sternum out. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the scene we were wondering about. Like, it got to the skull where they're getting ready to mess with the brain, and I was like,
Yep.
I don't find this gross at all because I find it like fascinating and how well they made it look like a thing. But I was like, Tasha's gonna fucking hate this part.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I turned my head. I knew what they were doing. I was like, I don't need to see this.
Yeah. I love medical shows, and like this is like the epitome of medical shows. I don't necessarily like watching shows like this where they have like aliens coming out of them and stuff, unless it's like funny, like in the thing. But like I loved like how realistic it looked in this. Like it was fucking phenomenal. And I loved all the components that they were building up. See, I already knew what like the story was, or what the
reveal.
The reveal was. Yeah, Kylie had already told me when she watched it. So I already knew that's what it was, which I kind of probably would have assumed anyhow. But like I loved all of those little components.
I remember the first time I saw this, I did not see it coming. The two things I remember not seeing coming was when they removed the top layer of skin and
when she has all the markings inside of her skin. Yeah.
That was like the big reveal to me.
That
like,
was cool.
Oh my God. And then when only because my knowledge of the trials and all that stuff, like once they were like talking about the Northeast, I was like, oh, it's a witch. But I can 100%, if you're not ooky spooky like I am, a lot of that stuff could just be flying over your radar. And then like once they start getting into like, swallowing of the tooth, I can see someone being like, it was like a ritual. Which
it is technically.
So you're along the ride with them, but then it gets to that reveal of like when they open up the Bible and go and all that stuff, and they're like, it's a witch. I remember just going like, hell yeah, because I really wasn't like, well, what is it? Is it a demon thing? Is it this? There was no solid thing that it was a witch. I mean, they said the Northeast and all that stuff, and I was like, it's probably a witch, but I wasn't like, it is a witch. Like, this is so obvious.
Well, to me, it was obvious when, like, even before, like, if I wouldn't have known, I think I would have known because her lungs were burnt.
Okay.
Like, because
that's
like
the thing that kind of gave it away for you.
Yeah, because it was like she has all these scarrings on the inside, and that part actually got me because I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like her skin on the outside is like normal, and then like partially, like I think people when they would first watch it would just think that she was tortured because like obviously, I mean she was, but I mean like it wasn't a supernatural element like to it because like her ankles and stuff were broken, her wrists were broken, and I loved the component of like when they were moving her ankle and you could see the bone moving. I was like, that is so fucking smart.
But it's so good at like, so the one guy who wants all the expository like dialogue.
Yeah.
This movie does a super good job of doing it through scenes like that.
Yeah, its actions speak louder than words.
Correct.
Like you see it while they're seeing it.
Yeah.
You're along for the ride with them.
Yeah, and like he's pulling like the cotton out of her mouth, like the string, and then they find it in her intestines, and then they're like the stomach should have eaten it away, which I thought was cool that it didn't because obviously there's a reason for that. And then like the whole brain component of like where she's actually still alive, and then her eyes are like, well, if she just died, her eyes wouldn't be this color, but this is what happens when you really die a long time ago, but she's not really dead. Like I loved all of that. I thought it was like fucking brilliant, even like down to like the science of just like cleaning out her nails and like checking out like all of those things. And the lungs part, like I said, that was my favorite part just because it was really cool looking, like, and then the scarification on the inside. And I just thought it was very cleverly done. And then when she was like getting pissed off, she was like playing music to them and like changing the radio station. And I was like, I love when we have movies like, I think was it what was the movie we watched? The Strangers, that had really good music on the inside, and X had really good music. And so I liked that this had like that like crazy, even the house, what was the house one called? The
Night House.
The Night House. That one had good music too. Yeah, it was like where the radio randomly turns on or plays like weird music. I love when that happens in movies. I don't know why. And it's always like some like upbeat tune that's so like poppy and fun, and like, and they're having a storm outside, and I don't know.
So how they got that though was that song that you're talking about. It was the Cowboy Church Sunday School. They released a 45 RPM single, and they play the song. It's called "Open Your Heart and Let the Sun Shine In." And so they took that 45 single and so it's supposed to be ran at 45 RPMs. They ran it at 33 1/3, and that's why it's got that like lower kind of, because it's not what you think a children's choir would sound like. When they said that, I was like, oh, and I saw that they slowed it down a bit. I was like,
to make it creepier.
Okay. Yep. And I was like, right on, cool. That's fucking dope.
Yeah. And when we first started this, I don't know if you noticed this, Tasha. You probably did. I did not. So we're watching this. I'm like, that dad, the coroner, I know him from somewhere. I know him. I'm like, where do I know him from? And we're just going through this, and Nick's like, he's familiar. Like, I know we've seen him and stuff. And then Nick's like, he's the main bus driver in the or whatever he is in the Trick or Treat movie. And I was like, duh, he's the neighbor. Yeah.
Yeah. The one with the little dog.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He looked familiar, but I never went back to look up the actors.
Yeah. With Spite, the dog. Yeah. I was like, what? Yeah.
Spite.
Yeah. He just had a little makeup on in that film and everything. I remember him like he's in that Secession television series.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. There's some other stuff because I was like naming some like random things like, oh, he's in this, he's in that. But then it like dawned on me. I was like, it's the fucking bus driver. It's the old man from Trick or Treat. She's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I completely didn't even put that together. So, yeah, that was kind of nice. And I like the son. I've seen him in some stuff, too. I thought their dynamics in this movie was amazing.
The only film that I remember him in, and I've never even seen it, is Speed Racer. They did
yeah, that's true. He is in that. Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm like, oh, it's Emile Hirsch. He was in Speed Racer. Like, those are forever connected in my brain.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But so talking about Emile Hirsch, Emile and Brian Cox portrayed the father and son coroners. However, in preparation for the role, at least one of the actors spent time in a morgue and worked with real coroners to learn the trade. Emile Hirsch went to autopsies so he could observe the disposition of the real coroners, including the things they talked about and their views toward life. These experiences prepared him for the roles and enabled him to mimic the mannerisms of real coroners.
That's cool.
There is no way I would ever do that much for a job, because I am not going down and hanging out with some dead bodies and like checking out what they're doing to them. Like it takes a special kind of person to be okay with doing that kind of stuff. And like, I have high respect for that, but man, that's some commitment.
In a different life, I can see myself having like went to like school for mortuary science and stuff, specifically because of my interest of like biology and stuff and my leanings toward the grotesque, just being interested in it. Not the fact of like, I want to play with organs, not like that, but just like, oh, this is kind of neat.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It takes a special kind of person to deal with that stuff.
And I'm all sorts of kind of special.
Yeah, I'm not that person. So, yeah, like I said, the component of this was good. And then when like the witch brought all the dead people back to life that were in the morgue area with her, that was kind of cool. Like
I thought that was weird.
Yeah, it was like
just reanimating the dead and stuff.
Kind of, yeah. But then also at the same time, it makes you wonder if it was really happening or if it was just like her messing with your head.
I think a lot of that is like not exactly happening.
What happened?
And it's like them fucking or him. Her fucking with them.
I think so too.
Because there's so much that like they're thinking something's happening, and there's no way, like even as a witch, like with every witch movie I've ever seen, you never think of witches like making things teleport. So the fact that there'd be like something walking down the hallway, then they look again and it's just not
gone.
there.
Yeah, I think she's fucking with their heads more than anything, because I think that gets portrayed a little bit more, especially when I called it with the elevator scene where he's like throwing the axe, when he's like throwing the axe out or whatever, he's like hitting stuff and like it ends up hitting the girlfriend. And I was like, I already knew that was going to happen, because I just assumed that, and then like the way that they got locked into the place and they couldn't function, like she had control over that entire like facility, but yet she let the girlfriend in, and then the girlfriend gets killed because, she's maybe putting like that guys on the girlfriend. We don't even know.
That's 100% what I think is happening in that scene, because like she's just walking down the hallway, but what they're seeing is like this creature coming, and they're like, oh fuck. So it's all in their head that's happening, and she's just walking down. So like, yeah, to her, I can almost guarantee she's walking in here and nothing's fucking happening except the two guys are like freaking out like they fucking ate an entire bag of shrooms in the fucking like elevators, being like, I don't know what's going on, man. I think the cops are here, man.
Well, I think that's part of it. And I also think that it kind of plays into that well with like in the bathroom, because there's nothing actually in there. And then he gets like, he could have been fighting himself or like throwing himself into things to hurt himself. Like, we don't know.
It could have been just like a spirit thing too.
It could have been, or could have been her in spirit form. Yeah. Like, we don't know. And like, I like that you don't know, because to me it still makes sense. And like, it's not like this like outlandish thing. Like, she owns this location. She decided she's going to torture you guys, and you can already tell that she controls stuff, because like the dad comes back to life after he's dead and like scares the son or whatever, and then like, isn't that what happens? And then he dies.
Yeah, because like it's one of those things of like, is she reanimating the corpse and it's there, which is less likely, or is it like a projection in their head? Yeah, I think like they're hallucinating.
I think it's just fucking with them.
Yeah.
So, or she is portraying herself as something, and she's like, you know, doing her own projection of her own self. Like, instead of other beings, she's just like copying herself or something. I honestly don't know. It's just there's so many variables that could happen,
and they're all plausible. That's the thing. It's like, it doesn't set up a lot of possibilities or it doesn't set up anything that isn't plausible.
Correct.
Like, it does a really good job of that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tasha.
Do you think at the beginning then she killed or had a hand in killing the people in that house that
I think she did the same thing that she just did to Emil or to the father and son.
Yep.
Like, I think because they talk about it being like all gunshots and like a self-inflicted gunshot kind of thing. So like, who knows how she made them seem to each other, and then someone just fucking killed everybody, or however. She's just inflicting her hatred and revenge upon whoever comes upon her.
Yep.
Okay. So the one part I struggled with was when she like sutures herself back up and like imparts all of her like ailments onto the dad.
Yeah.
And then she's like clear. I took that as she was like taking her spirit like from that body into the dad's body, but then the dad ended up getting killed so easily. That whole ending part was confusing.
At that point, she is bearing her pain into him. That's why her like using witch logic here, but she's taking all like the literal physical like scarring and stuff of her pain and suffering and just putting it into him. So it's not the fact, because he says to her, let me help you. So she's like, sure, because she's alive. She's still alive in all this stuff. So she's like, well then fucking here, then take all of this and suffer as I suffered.
Okay, so then she no longer has that suffering then, because it's in the dad?
Correct. And like, if the end is to be believed, I think she's alive at the very end, because her toe twitches.
Yeah, and her eyes changed.
Yeah, her
eyes changed clear. Okay.
I think that they swapped like life energy or whatever. Not the soul, not the body, but like,
I feel like she's drawing his energy into her, and she's inflicting the same things that happened to her onto him, so then she can draw that into her to heal herself. So like, she's sucking the literal life out of him, and like, and giving, and like, they're replacing the thing so she can now be whole again. It's just like a swapping of energy is what I looked at it as. And so he was getting inflicted with the same things that she had to deal with so she could heal. And so that's how I took it, I guess. And like, and then that's how she became whole again. And like, honestly, we don't know. Like, and that's one thing that I thought was interesting is like, so she inflicted these things on these people in the house, like she killed them and stuff. But does it take for the sacrifice of the human to say, take from me? And then she willfully does it because there's like that opening up of like willfully accepting that. And so she can then take from it. Or is there like a rule there? You know what I mean?
Well, on that point, like does it need to happen? I don't think it's one of those, but I think it's more like, because she's a human. At the end of the day, she still is a human and stuff. So initially she's just having like, she's like maniacal, essentially, just like, I'm going to torture these people and blah blah blah, and they just get to a point that, Brian Cox's character is like, please do, like, just take me, please. So in an act of compassion, she goes, fine, like that kind of thing, like, sure, I'll do that. But then you have to also understand, she fucking kills him anyway at the end of the film,
and she kills his son too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is she ends up killing Emil Hirsch's character at the end. So like, he's like, it's just another level of like this like fake compassion. I think I said compassion, but like fake compassion where it's like, fine, I'll do this. Kills him, and all he wants is like to protect his son. It's like, man, I'm gonna still fucking kill this
But
kid.
technically, she doesn't kill the son. The son kills himself on accident.
From her influence.
Yes.
She scares him to death.
But
Right, because doesn't the dad already like get stabbed in the stomach to where he's supposed to
he's already
have
dead.
died?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is what we see with her projecting him or reanimating the dad, you know, to scare him. She's already, whether that worked or not, she was still already in the mode to be like, this kid is getting fucked up. Like,
Well, she's already playing the hope card to him because she's
Correct.
like playing like, oh, the hope that they're coming in and they're getting us out and they're
I
cutting the
love
tree
that.
down and they're doing all of that. And then it's not true because the music starts playing
he
and
starts
like,
singing it. The guy,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
sheriff.
then his dad shows up and he dies. And I was like, that's sad. Because I was actually hoping at least somebody would survive in this. Like normally I don't care about that, but I felt like that would have been a nice ending. The witch survives, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I like that they all die and stuff like that, but it's also, I don't like the way they kill off Emil Hirsch. I think that is the big misstep. I think that there was enough meat on the bone
Yeah.
for this film to like, you could have added an extra 10 minutes or whatever to like make that a better kill, because it's literally just a jump scare ending. It's no better than that, just like, ugh, and then it's over, and then you get like your little like ending part where the sheriff's like, I don't care where she goes, go to fucking another county though, get her out of my county. Like, that's the end of the film, you know. So
I liked that ending. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I like just the subtle ding of the bell.
Yeah.
With all the buildup though of like what's going on and like how Brian Cox's character dies, to kill Emil Hirsch's in just a jump scare moment just feels kind of lame. And I think that that's mostly what people complain about, is that fucking kill.
It was too, it was just too simple. They should have given him a little bit more respect, which they gave the cat more respect, honestly, if you think about it.
You would be amazed by the amount of 1 out of 10 reviews on this that literally were just titled "Cat Dies."
Yeah.
So the watchers of this film want justice for what was his?
I don't know. He was a grumpy cat, though.
What was that?
I don't know. He was a grumpy cat, though.
It was a now, Tasha.
Sorry.
All right, get through it.
You got it started.
Oh
We're
my
good.
god, this must be an exciting episode, everybody. Both of the
can't
girls are
help it.
yawning.
I
Oh
know.
my god.
Yeah.
My bad.
Sorry. So
So like the special effects though on this film, especially for its budget and stuff, I can't really think, except for the Brian Cox jump scare at the end, because that seems really weird looking. Special effects in this, whether CG or practical, like granted they do both, nothing sticks out bad to me.
Yeah, me
like
either.
every single there's something for you, Tasha?
The fire. I think the fire was a little
up on the-
overdone.
only the fire on the ceiling,
Yeah.
but I've never seen, I know that that's how fire can work and stuff, like if it's burning oxygen, but I've never seen that. So I don't know.
It's how it like shoots out of her chest cavity up to the sky, up to the ceiling.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the way it looks, like not the probability. Oh, you just think the way it looked was kind of shitty?
Yeah. It just kind of looked cheesy.
I gotcha. So
I didn't notice that. But
you didn't notice that?
I was just like, she's on fire. And then it's like, there's more fire. And I was like, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I actually, that was one thing I did not notice. But I normally do. But I do like the fire was burning like her pictures and stuff, but then some of them are still left behind. And like, I liked all of that. Like I said, I can't think of anything that I would pinpoint in this movie that was like, definitely that kind of showed that it was like, I
was shocked at its budget. Like this is one of those few films that like, as well as all of it looked to me,
Yeah.
I would have expected it to be like $10 million or something like that.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, girls.
I'm sorry.
Both of you. Tasha just did it a second ago again. You just did it. Oh my God. I think you girls have enough said for this film. Do we? What? It's what?
Maybe.
It's what? Tell me right now, Tasha.
It's not that great.
Oh!
my.
All right.
Is that what you want?
God damn it.
Get our reviews in.
It's
Let's
honey.
get
not.
into reviews. Tasha, go ahead. The floor is yours. Here's our reviews.
You know, it's not a 7 like you thought it was going to be. And that's not because of that has nothing to do with like little sister syndrome and like I'm gonna do what you don't want me to do.
Yeah.
Well, now that you said that, that's what I think.
I have a
wasn't
number in my
thinking
head that
originally.
Tasha's going to rate it. So I'm going to see if I'm right.
Yeah, it was okay. I definitely understand what you're saying, Nick, about it being kind of like a comfy watch. I get bored with it rather quickly because of the lack of dialogue, because of it all being in one section, like one area. And I get that's the style of the movie. It's just not my jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some confusing bits the first time I watched it. It definitely doesn't hit the same the second time because you know the big reveal. I'm gonna give it a 5.5.
That's exactly what I thought Tasha was going to give it. I am so fucking good. I figured she would be like, it's mid, but it's a little above mid.
I thought the mystery and everything of it would have been like the driving point. I knew that the gore was going to bother you, but I figured the mystery was like the reveals were going to be enough for you to be like, I think she's really going to like this. And you're just like, it sucks.
But you have to really go ahead, Tasha.
I think had this been my first time seeing it, I probably would have rated it slightly higher. Probably still not a 7, but still not a 7. And it was slow. So for you to say that this is better than like the sailing of the Demeter or whatever it was, that makes me not want to watch
slow
that
at all. That's insane. Like
I didn't either.
It's because it's like so procedural. Maybe that's the thing is you just don't like that. Like,
right. I don't like step by step by step.
Yeah. It has like a Law and Order vibe to it.
Yeah.
Right.
It does.
Yeah. I need, like scene changes and
moving
to different parts.
That one time they were in the bathroom.
that one time.
Yeah, goddamn
in
right.
an hour and a half.
We saw a crematorium.
I need like at least 6.
There were some outside shots. We're in an ambulance.
Well, there's
the very end. Yeah.
There's no like tone difference either in the whole movie, like in sense of like everything's brown and like other than the fire, but like everything it's like, and then her pale skin. And I understand why they're doing that. They're like playing off of like how like literally porcelain skin she has compared to like the drab basement of this place. But yeah, I mean, the color could have been a little bit better in this. So yeah, but I figured Tasha would probably give it about a 5.5. That's exactly what in my head said. So that was right. So you go ahead, honey.
No,
you
were already going. I thought you were giving your review.
Oh, my review. No, I'm just talking.
I was like, is
she's
she giving a review
on
a review?
Yeah, I am. I'm sticking up for Tasha. No,
she can say whatever the fuck she wants. The uhs and stuff were me feeling bad because I thought like for sure this was a winner.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have a winner with her if it has that much like open gore to it. Realistically,
I don't know. She likes true crime. I didn't know. Like I thought it was so medically done. Like that's the thing is I don't think it's exploitive.
It's not.
Because like there's points that they could have like went further that they didn't. Like when he's removing the rib cage kind of stuff and everything, they show him doing it, but they don't show him like like the down in the cavity stuff. And like when they're doing like the vaginal stuff and everything, they just keep the camera up. They just keep it up by her head.
About all of that.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job. And we haven't even talked about that is a living woman, Alan Kelly, on that table 8 hours a day during shooting, because they said Overdahl said that if it was like a dummy or something, it would have been so noticeable.
Yeah,
the only way this would work is if it was a human body.
That's crazy.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
like she was like a model and she literally got the role and just laid there
Laid
for
there.
8 hours a day for shooting.
That is
insane.
exhausting.
Yeah.
Like
On a
imagine
table like that. Ooh.
naked, just around mostly
Yeah.
men, more than likely, you know, like.
Yeah. That takes a lot. So I give her props for that.
So
Yeah.
is it a 6 out of 10 now, Tasha?
We're sticking with 5.5. She literally
God
just
damn it.
laid there.
Yeah.
She just laid there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tasha, watch what you're saying. This is a fucking family show, okay?
No, it's not.
Well, no, it is. It's all family here.
Oh,
fa- like, we
you know
are
what I mean? Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna give this movie a 7. Because
Wow.
I think that it's something I would rewatch. I thought it was really beautifully shot. I liked there wasn't anything of it I didn't like realistically. Like, yes, it's not as exciting of an ending, and I did call a lot of the things that were going to happen because that's what happens in horror movies most of the time. But I like the medical part of it and the breakdown and all of the detective work and all of that. I felt like that was done tastefully, and honestly, I didn't think I would like that. Like, when I went into this, I thought it was going to gross me out or I'd feel uncomfortable and I wouldn't like it. And I actually found out that I really liked it. I thought it was done very, very well because, like, when we watched, Nick's gonna be mad. When we watched The Reanimator and we got
It's just
brain
Reanimator.
scenes,
It's not The Reanimator.
it is called the Reanimator.
I will grab my copies from behind me.
I don't care. That's what I'm calling it. So shut the hell up. So
Whoa.
the Reanimator, when we get certain scenes in that, it is done like in a different form that I didn't necessarily like. And this, I liked it. So, and that's the only reason why I'm pulling from that movie, because I can't think of another movie we've actually watched that's had anything
That has
to
the
this
medical
degree.
stuff.
Yeah.
And
So-
I'm finding that that is an interest to me.
Yeah,
Like,
it sounds like it is. Yeah. So I would say this movie is a 7 for me. I would definitely rewatch it. I would be interested to see it again, like in like soon, not necessarily like in the next month, but like in 6 months or so, to see if I pick up on anything different, just to see if it has rewatchability. But I loved the acting in this. I thought it was phenomenal. And like, other than the girlfriend, she was a little meh, but
Okay.
she was like a throwaway character. I had no relationship with her. I didn't care that she died. Like, I didn't, there was no, like, I wasn't sad. Like, the dad, I felt really bad for because he just keeps getting the hell beat out of him. And like, and then he's just caring about his son and making sure his son's okay. And I thought that was really nice. And I loved that about it. And I thought it was a really smart movie. And that's why I'm giving it a 7. So.
Yeah, this is, let me think here. I don't have my scores in front of me, but like, I'm just talking off the hip, you know?
Okay.
Like, this is one of my favorite witch films, if not my favorite witch film, because I always feel, as much as I like occult stuff and everything, witch movies tend to be on the side of the craft. With like, it's all like, yeah, and like, I love The Witch. I think The Witch is great.
I think The Witch is just as good as this. It might be a little bit better just because the storyline.
I'm having a hard time like that, because that's what's in my mind is like, is it better than The Witch? I don't know, but I can't remember exactly what I gave The Witch, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of in my head going like, you know what? Today, this is what I'm feeling. It could change. I could watch The Witch and think it's
correct.
This is all based on this viewing and everything, and I'm giving the Autopsy of Jane Doe, I think I'm going to give it a 7.75.
Okay.
Not quite an 8. But the reasoning for that is I like sleuthy stuff. Like, there's a lot of boxes this checks. It's like sleuthy, like what the mystery of it. So that's cool. The relationship of Brian and Emil, I fucking love their back and forth. It feels very real to me. Like these two are connected. Even though, like we mentioned earlier, like we didn't remember any like big expository dialogue stuff. There is the scene in the elevator where like you're getting kind of the backstory about his wife and the mother and everything, and like how she, like, it sounds like killed herself because of depression and stuff like that. So you do get that, but I think it works because they kind of are like touching on it every once in a while. The medical component's cool. The reveals for it are like, I would have never in a million years been like, we're going to remove a layer of skin that is clearly wrapped around this woman to show all of these like runes that are on her to keep everything trapped and whatnot. The gore, I think, is expertly done. Like, it's not gratuitous. It could have been. It could have been, that would have, it wasn't at all. That would have affected this film. Like, that's the tone, the story, all of that stuff together. Yeah, like, this is almost an 8. You know what? Fuck it. I'm giving this an 8.
Okay. I
love this movie. I've been thinking about it, like, since we watched it. Like, man, I would really like it if, like, one of the t-shirt companies, like Creeporama or, you know, Terror Threads, why is there not an Autopsy of Jane Doe shirt? It could literally be like the covers and stuff, because yes, obviously there's a naked woman in the center of the film the whole time, but you don't have to show that. Just show like her fucking clavicles up and everything, and then you can make it all ooky spooky. One of those t-shirt companies, you go out there, you make one of those shirts, I will buy it from you.
I would wear that too. I think I've learned after watching this and then watching The Witch, and like when they're like revealing stuff, I must like witch movies. Like and it doesn't surprise me because I like, you know, vampire stuff, and like I like extra things like aliens, and like I prefer those types of things other than like real life stuff. As in separation of it, like even zombie films and things like that I like better, but I really like the component of like the witch part, and her just being still the whole movie is what made the movie, in my opinion. Like, just that, I don't know, it was really good.
That alone could be really bothersome for somebody. Yeah, like just the fact that you're seeing creepy. That the whole time. I'm just so desensitized that I'm just like, ooh, brain, that looks like a real brain. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it was. I could see where you could give it an 8. It was good. I liked it. So yeah.
So what's that give us, Tasha, for our grade point?
Gives us a 68.
Hell yeah. Okay. I think you will more than likely like this film. Like, I would, like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I thought Tasha would. And it sounds like 5.5. If it's on, you're not going to shut it off. Like, you know, like in my book, it's like somebody's watching it. You're like, oh, okay. You're not going to be like, fuck this, I'm not watching that movie.
Right.
Can we watch something else? Because that's below 5 to me, is where I'm just like now actively like going out of my way to not watch said film. You know, so
yeah, it's a movie that if someone was watching it, I would like sit on the couch and read a book and then pop in and out every now and then.
Yeah, tap your toe to the song "Let the Sun Shine In." Well, and like to go back kind of to talking about the music and stuff, the entire radio station stuff is all her fucking with them, and it's all the pacing of the film, like oh, it's about to get bad, and like that's actually going to happen. Like oh god, I love that stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I like them. I love when they do that in movies. So with the radio and the music, it just adds like that extra layer of, I don't know, something extra to it.
Just a little pizzazz.
A little something.
Yeah, it just changes like the tone of the movie, I think, when it adds like that little pop of pep.
Little pop.
I guess. Yeah, of something. Yeah, sometimes it's not even like happy music. Sometimes it's just like really sad. But
and I think it's even better when it is happy old music.
I agree.
Something about that just makes it eerie.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's very creepy.
So before we get into homework and stuff, what did you girls ingest media-wise that you can champion this week?
You guys go first because I got to think about it.
Okay, I'll go through mine because I've already got mine written down.
Okay.
So I previously alluded to earlier in the podcast that I saw a film that made me jump scare a couple times. And our daughter Maya and I went and saw Immaculate in theaters. This is a Sydney Sweeney starring film. She ended up actually helping produce this film too. It's basically about a young nun going to a convent, and shit goes horribly sideways. This film was a hell of a lot gorier than I thought it was going to be, considering, you know, you've got this like beautiful young new actress that's doing like rom-com kind of movies, because she was in that film that you and the girls went and saw earlier, like end of last year or whatever. Why Did It Have to Be You or something like that?
I have no idea what it was called, but yeah.
So like it
was a movie with romance.
It's like if you saw a film by Julia Roberts and then the same year she put out a film where like somebody's getting their face literally smashed in with a crucifix and it's not pulling away, and you're seeing it and you're hearing like teeth kind of chip. Yeah, it blew my fucking mind with that shit. Like because like I think we were like 20 minutes in. I just look over to Maya and just sarcastically, because it totally is my jam, I just look over at her and I'm like, what did you bring me to? Because she was the one that wanted to see this. That's why she ended up going. She is not a horror fan, really. I mean, she'll watch them here and there, but she's not going out of her way to watch a horror film. She's not bringing it to the table. So my rule with all the kids is, if there's a horror film going into the theater, like in our town, and you want to go see it, let me know. And if the schedule works, we will go see it. So like, that's how I've seen films that I didn't really care for, but if the kids liked it, that's why I'm there. I have my pass for the year. Like, it doesn't cost me anything for me to go, and then I'll just pay the matinee price or whatever and get some popcorn, some cherry Coke, and get at it. So that was immaculate. And then I also I started and finished a book this week by Paul Tremblay. He is the author of the book that became the movie A Knock at the Cabin, that has like Batista and stuff in it.
Oh, I liked that movie. That was good.
Yeah. But I read his book Head Full of Ghosts, which Tasha, I'm suggesting for you to read this. It's a horror novel. But it deals with like possession stuff. Really, really, really good. I'm looking forward to reading some more of his stuff. But yeah, if you get a chance, I listened to the audiobook. It's also out in like paperback and hardback and all that stuff. It's Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay.
Okay. So this is a book. The author has also written other books. One is made into a movie. Okay, correct. So this isn't the book rights off of the movie.
No, the rights for this book have already been picked up, but they're like having a hard time figuring out how to turn this book into a movie, because this doesn't give anything away, but like there's 3 parts I think in the book, and at like it's structured where like the beginning of every part is like this blogger doing like an article thing talking about this television show. Then you're also, and I'm not giving anything away. So you've got a blogger talking about this television show that was about a possession. Then you have one of the people from that television show being interviewed like 15 years later. And then you also have her actual experience through the television show it was like a reality show of a possession thing. So you've got all of these different views going on to something. There are things that are revealed to you, obviously, throughout the book and stuff. But no, it was really cool. I liked it a lot. Like, it was voiced really well, considering, obviously, I'm a man, so I don't know. But you're following female characters a lot in this. So it's like a female voice. To me, it seemed very real. Like, if I didn't know that a man wrote this book, I would have thought a woman wrote it, because it wasn't worded in ways that didn't seem like speaking to all of our daughters and stuff like that.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. I got roped into Fourth Wing. I'm finally in it.
Oh, okay.
So I will.
What is it?
Check out
Fourth Wing. It's a huge thing right now.
Yeah, I was talking to Steph about it a while ago, and I have friends at work that are just like obsessed with this book series.
Okay.
There's a lot of people who are, yeah. Yeah,
so started it. I've been like trudging through the first 10 chapters, and then once I got sucked in, I got sucked in. Okay. It's about dragons. That's the part that I honestly care about. There's like this... A lot of people seem to really be there for like the sexual tension amongst some of the characters. That part is okay, but I really like the concepts between like these dragons and their riders, and like the dragons impart like these powers onto the riders, which is pretty cool. So there's like a magical component to it. There's like fantasy. So that's the part that like once I got past them being like 20 somethings in college and like the beginning was kind of lame, I'm into it. I have like 10 chapters left. So
nice.
That's good.
I'm pretty excited to finally finish it, because I told my friend Tori, I was like, I'm going to read like maybe 5 chapters over break. And then once I started, I got sucked in. So Fourth
good.
Wing, if you haven't heard of it and you're into books, you probably live under a rock, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, you do.
I am that person. But I only research like thriller and horror novels. So
this is romance.
Yeah, what you're talking about is like fantasy romance. That's not even close.
Romantasy. Yeah.
Romantasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There you go, Tasha. There's a whole genre.
It is.
Yeah. I don't think I'll be into this genre too much, but I do want to kind of finish what I started with, at least this first book.
No,
I have the second one, so we'll see. But
is there not enough like, and then she went walking at night and no one saw her again tonight on Dateline?
Yeah.
Exactly. There's none of that. It's all linear.
Yeah.
People die, but they die by the hand of like falling off of a dragon or like scaling a wall and I don't like. So yeah, it's definitely not my normal jam.
Tonight on Dateline, did the dragon do it on purpose? I don't know. Come back after the commercial break.
Yeah. Well, Fourth Wing's like right up there in like the whole book talk era along with like ACOTAR, which is like a Court of Thorn and Roses series. And I read the first 3 books of that, but I am the person, and I feel like I'm going to be talking like Nick now, but
ooh, hold on, let me get cozy.
Yeah.
Right.
So when a book or something like that, especially books are like exceptionally popular, most of the time when I try them, I don't end up liking them.
Oh, you don't like the popular books?
I don't. I never understand the hype of them most of the time. Like,
really? Why is that?
I don't know. I wish I understood, because like I love like Tasha's talking about dragons. I freaking love dragon books. I read a ton of dragon books, but I'm not reading Fourth Wing. I don't know if I ever will, because every single time I get into these kind of things, I'm like really let down, because I'm like ACOTAR. Everybody's like, this is the greatest fantasy series ever made. And I read it and I was like, it had its moments I liked, but overall I didn't love the series, and it was okay. Like, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was like in the middle, I think, 4-star average, 3-star, whatever, but I didn't 5-star any one of them. So I don't know. It was just one of those things.
It's because you're an author, so you're so deeply entrenched in the art of writing. So when you see a book that's written just meh, like it's just like, okay, and it's wildly popular, you have this like disconnect. I'm speaking from my viewpoint, but like seeing,
but I don't think it's that, because I don't.
Well, no, you see it, you read it, but then you've heard all this hype, and then you just kind of look at it and you're like, this is what everybody likes. Like, okay, whatever, but I don't see it.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
With it being book talk, that is a pretty small sample size too, of like, there are very, like, your algorithm, obviously you guys know, the algorithm is just pumping in that type, so then it seems like everyone loves it, but if you're not necessarily on TikTok or in that vein, maybe it's not as wildly popular as
and it's really weird too, because a lot of bookstores now lean into that book talk stuff, where you'll come in and there's just a table that says book talk and it's just books, and I will do that because I'm not a well-versed reader in the sense of like that I can just walk into whatever shop and be like, all right, go to the horror section. Oh, I've heard of this author. I've heard of this author. I know of like a few authors right now in like my lane, and that's about it. Beyond that, like, I see a new name, it might as well be like me giving you girls a death metal band, and you're just like, well, I know that it's death metal because you told me that, but I have no frame of reference about what any of this is. So I'm the same way. I'm like, well, this person is technically a horror author. Are they good? I don't know. Yeah. Because all we're ever fed in that, and I don't know if it's this way so much, it probably is with like romance and fantasy and stuff like that. But in horror, it's like, you want to read Dean Koontz? You want Stephen King? It's like, no, I would actually rather something different. But it's like, no, these are what you want to read. Oh, you want vampires? You mean Anne Rice? Actually, probably something a little, no, you want Anne Rice. Or you want the girl that did True Blood and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, I think, well, what I think with this series, with the fantasy aspect of it, I think what happens is, and this is with anything, this is with movies, this is with music, it's not just books. you got a publishing house behind you, and they're pumping fucking money into marketing and to giving out books to big influencers online, and that's how they're getting popular. It's not necessarily that the book's bad or great. It's probably in the middle, if you look at like a sampling of it, but it's because they're pumping out the amount of money that they are. It's no different. The perfect example of this is 50 Shades of Grey. I read 50 Shades of Grey, and I look at it as the baby's first step into spicy romance. Like, that's what it is. And like, you read it and you're like, this gives me the toe in the door. Let me go read something else that's like this. And then once you've actually immersed yourself in that world of those like spicy books that have been, because the first one was so popularized, then you're like, wow, all this other stuff's way better. I like this way more, but I still wouldn't have gotten into that gate had this not existed. So I think ACOTAR is like that. I think Fourth Wing may or may not be. I have not read it. I think that's just the case because there's a publishing house behind all of these people pumping out. They want to make millions of dollars, and they got to do it somehow. So,
well, and those books are probably, and I've never read them. I'm just taking like your viewpoint on it, but I can compare it to other stuff. It's just that, like, for lack of a better way of saying it, it's like they're so homogenized and just like chemically made, where it's like, is this going to be the best thing ever? No, but it's going to, like, I say this a lot, it checks a lot of my boxes. This is going to check a lot of like enough people's boxes. It's not about being everybody's favorite. It's about it being consumable.
That's exactly what it is.
And that's like,
it's product.
The Marvel films, like all that kind of stuff. It's like, they're visually beautiful, so you can use it as the book cover. Like, oh, the book cover's really cool. The marketing's all there. It's like, check out this new book by Colleen Hoover or whomever, or the new Marvel movie. And then once you get into it, you're like, that's all right. That's it. That's all. It's just mediocrity. It's like that aim for mediocriity, which is, for some people, they just want something that's just like, you know what? I got through that. That was a nice little story. Not everybody, I'm really bad about this. Not everybody is looking for the next best thing for them.
Correct.
I'm always looking for that thing to make me feel like the first time I saw, I don't fucking know, Jurassic Park or something. That's never going to happen because I was very young when that happened. But like, that's probably a bad example, but like that time when something just like sparks a new love of something for you, I'm always looking for that. And
I love it when books can do that. I think that's something special, at least for me, where a book can make me feel like a movie can, but it's just words on a page and you get a ton of emotion. I don't necessarily get that from Fourth Wing. I'm doing this to kind of like squash curiosity because I know people that this is like their favorite book series, has read Fourth Wing multiple times.
So this is a series of books?
It is going to be. The first one's out and the second one just got released last year, and that one did not turn out as well. So, and I know the third one's on the horizon.
There's always that sophomore slump.
The
lull of a trilogy.
Go ahead, Tasha.
Oh, I was just going to change subjects, so go for it.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that I think some people who are looking for books, just kind of like we were talking about the Stephen King, Dean Koontz concept, is like they just want everybody to tell them what to read, so they don't have to do that. They don't have to put in the effort, which is fair. That's 100% fair. It's no different than going to freaking Netflix and saying the top 10 things that are out. Let's just watch one of those, so I don't have to do any brain work.
I'm just obsessed about the things that I like. I hyper fixate on.
That's how I am too. And like, so when I read, like, I'm just going to give the example, like ACOTAR. I liked the books; they were good, but they weren't great. And I can see where people who are like, I want to read something. I want somebody to tell me what I'm going to like in romantasy. Give me this. And then they're like, wow, this was great. I didn't have to do any brain work. It was well written and it ticked enough boxes. Like, I think that, and it was creative enough. There is some really unique things in the storyline that make it stand out. And so I don't know. As for something that I'm going to champion this week, I don't know if I have anything that's
like, oh my God, no tentacles.
So I did read a book this week. More. Oh, Tasha, go Tasha. What do you got?
You sounded like TMNT there for a second. Go Tasha.
Go Tasha. Go Tasha.
So something else. I took I forgot we did this. I took Y to go see the new Godzilla movie.
Oh hell yeah.
So okay.
If you want monsters, Steph, I know you're big on if it's going to be a monster movie, there better be monsters.
Yeah.
It is chock full of monster fights. Okay. Very little storyline, just enough storyline to make it a movie.
Good.
tons of fighting.
Good.
Okay,
That's what makes like Pacific Rim good. It's like, yeah, there's some
Right.
people. Now get
Yeah.
on to the 5 fucking robot
Exactly.
versus monster fights.
They did a really good job keeping it in like with the monsters in the forefront. So I recommend
Good.
it. It's 2 hours long, and I was dreading that going in, but it flies by.
Cool.
Good. Yeah, Noelle went and saw that this week too, and she said, "Well, Mom, you like those movies. You would really like this one. This one was good." How did you think it compared to the Kong one, the one with Godzilla versus Kong?
I like it better.
Do you? Okay.
I like this new one better.
Okay.
There's more. So it's about, I would say maybe about the same amount of monsters. You're in, like Kong's
world that you-
less.
Oh, okay. Because we got introduced to that in the previous movie. That's why I was
Right.
wondering.
So
Okay.
it's in there, just not as much. And then
Okay.
there are some fight scenes elsewhere and like on Earth, which I always like when they're just demolishing cities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take down the
That's awesome.
financial sector. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Save us, Godzilla, from financial struggle.
Yeah. Wyatt said it was the best Godzilla movie ever.
Yay!
High
I'm
praise.
glad he liked it.
Pretty
That's
cool.
Because
awesome.
he's
Yeah.
he's a kaiju nerd in a big way.
Yeah, he
so.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's saying something. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
He
Yeah.
wore his Metallica Godzilla shirt that you got him for Christmas. He
Hell
was
yeah.
set.
Oh, that's
Let's
so
fucking
cute.
do this.
Yeah, he was ready.
Shut up,
Yeah.
Mom. My stories are on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cute. I do want to see that movie. That's one of the ones I wanted to see. The new what was the other one? The Ghostbusters movie. I haven't
Yeah, the
seen
new
that either.
Ghostbusters, Frozen
Yeah.
Empire, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. I lost my train of thought.
What's
like
your
I'm trying
thing?
to that's what I'm trying to remember. I had it and then I lost it. I knew I haven't I was like trying to think of like movies I've watched this week. We watched the Autopsy of Jane Doe, but like I didn't really watch anything. I've been working a lot. And so I had a book release this week and a bunch of other stuff going on. So that was going on. And then I can't even remember. Like I can't, I'm like, what do I have to champion this week? I don't have any books because I did read a book this week. It was terrible. So I'm not championing that. Yeah.
That is right. I remember you saying a lot of that. Just like,
I was I was like,
it was a down week for you.
it was.
It'll happen.
It will, yeah. And I didn't read any monster romances.
No tentacle porn. Ugh.
No.
No, sorry. Should have led the episode with this so people could have just not listened to the episode.
I know.
That's
They're
all
like,
they listen
we're
for.
waiting for it. I know. No, the one thing I remember now. So this isn't necessarily like an item specifically, but I do think that people are unaware of this. So I'm going to share it. So if this goes in the same vein of books, because we talk about that all the time, because that's my job. Yesterday we did this and we have one in our yard. It's called the Free Little Library, or Little Free Library. I think it's what they're called. Anyway, so in a lot of communities, they have these little boxes that people put in their yards on their own money. They do it themselves and they keep them stocked with books. And you can go and you can take a book or you can donate a book, or you can do both. And we have a lot in our community, and we have one in our yard that we put in last year. And we went around town last night and donated books and picked up books with the kids. And so the kids could get some books, and so I could, pick up some too that were maybe interesting to me. And there's an app for it. So if people are like wondering where to go to see them, if you don't know in your community, just get on the app and it'll show you any that you have in your location that people have paid to have put their location on the app. So we paid, I don't know, it was like $35 or something to be permanently on the app. So people can kind of see, oh, well, this person has a free little library in their yard. So I would just, if you want to do something with your kids, or, you're interested in something like that, you should definitely check it out. So
Oh, yeah.
that's my thing this week, since I don't have anything else to offer because I suck this week.
I thought you were going to talk about the thing that you blew my mind with, since I do audiobooks and stuff, the Libby app.
Oh, yeah. The Libby app is another one. I don't know.
I didn't know about it.
Oh, yeah. That's another. Okay. So I guess we're talking about free ways to get books. So let's talk about the Libby app. Libby app is connected to your library. And so there's another app too, but this is the one that I prefer. You go on there, you find the books that you want. If you're looking for indie authors, you're going to be a lot less likely to get them. But if you're looking for more traditionally published stuff, you're definitely going to pick that up on there. They're ebooks. They actually sync with your Kindle. So like your Kindle app. So like once you get them downloaded, it's not difficult to use. And you can literally reserve ebooks on their site.
And then because they only have so many per state or whatever, like based on your library. And then you go in there and you borrow the book. And then some of them will just already be available then. But if not, it'll put you on a waiting list and you'll know when you're probably going to be getting it. And then you can also do it for audiobooks. So I know audiobooks are really expensive. And other than, getting your free 6 hours on Spotify every month, it's definitely a way to go. And I was telling Nick about it. And so he could go listen to some audiobooks for free through the library, because you can go in and you can also reserve them there. Or if they're available again, you can just get them right away. So use the Livy app and use your free little library to get your books. So, yeah.
I used to do that a lot with Wyatt when he was little. The other one that I use is called Hoopla, and
that's the one. Yep.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like being able to do that like on the go with especially when Wyatt was little, because I would just put him on the iPad and he could flip through like kids books on there too.
Yep. It's nice. It's a sweet little thing that the state does, and they it also, like, authors get paid when they purchase the books. We don't get paid extra after that, but at least they're contributing to keeping people literate and entertained. So
there will definitely be things in if you're into horror stuff that can only be ingested in a way through a book, like that. It just does not. It will not transfer over to film. There's certain books like that. So, all right, we're getting into homework territory now. It's time for homework.
Yeah.
So spoilers are done. We're done talking about the autopsy of Jane Doe. We are now going to talk about I believe it's 1978. Yes, we're going back to the 70s. I can see the excitement in your faces, but we're gonna watch the Ridley Scott Alien.
Oh, okay.
We're going back.
I'm excited to see this, so I am. It's going to be interesting. I can tell Tasha's probably not excited to see this, but I'm excited to see this.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
not going into next week's episode and stuff, but Tasha, have you seen it?
I don't think I've seen the original.
Okay.
I know I've seen Alien. I think I've seen Aliens and Alien versus Predator. But yeah, I was expecting it to be another movie that we have on the queue. So when you said the year, I got confused.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I misspoke. It's not 1978. It's 1979.
That's why I was so confused. You got everything wrong.
Yeah, that's what it was. I'm sorry. 78, I believe, is Halloween. I think that's where I always confuse, because Halloween and Alien do not feel like they came out in the 70s. They feel like the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So, trying to see, it says right now that you can watch this on Hulu. So, if you have Hulu, you should be able to watch it. I know, if I remember correctly, though, it is coming off soon. Off of Hulu, so it might show up on a different streaming service, but I think it was in the leaving soon category.
Oh yeah, we just saw that on there the other day. Yeah,
because I was like, oh shit, usually these time up pretty decent. This is going to be it just left. Fuck you, Nick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, all right, that's what we're going to be covering. Alien.
Okay,
that's good.
I don't know if I've seen this, but I think I've seen this. I just can't remember. So.
I've seen this movie.
That's not shocking.
So, for Pod of the Dead, I am Nicholas.
I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tasha.
Come back and listen to us, or else.